Today we are in Toronto, and I'm sitting here at Havas Media Group with Nick Cedar, Head of Investments at Havas Media Group.
Nice.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So today, what we want to talk about a bit here is, let's get started with tell me a bit about the Havas Media Group in Canada and what does it do?
So we're a full-service media agency, including creative. We buy the best media. We're an advertising agency with some fairly large clients, mid-size, purely growth mode right now in the market, and we're under new leadership right now, and we're looking to expand and get into innovation there. So.
And your role here within Havas, Director of Investments. Tell me a bit about this role. What do you do?
So I oversee broadcast mostly. So we negotiate on behalf of our clients to get the best, put us in the best place, the most meaningful place. Havas's mantra is meaningful media. So the right context, the right, make sure we're being put in the right place, make sure we're doing the right connection, and we're getting rid of the media wastage, and really doing more connection with the brands.
Media wastage. Tell us about media wastage.
When you're doing demo-based buying and you're looking at, say an adult's 25-54, and you're looking at television, a lot of those viewership numbers are coming from 50 plus. And you're kind of wasting. If you're just going by just number one in the ranker, you could be paying a lot more money for a network that doesn't really connect with your consumer and who you're looking for. But in a demo and optically, when you pull a ranker, it looks like, oh great, I'm on the number one station. You're paying more for something that's not going to be you're paying more for something that you don't necessarily need. Right. So you can create more efficiencies, create better meaningful experiences, right, by really tapping into who your consumer is and getting rid of and not going after stations that don't connect and make meaningful media with your product.
Smashing. So you would say that your qualitative assessment of your performance, your KPIs, are driven by insights, right?
Yes,
and attribution.
100%, yes. Data, first-party data. This is why we partner with some of the biggest telco companies in Canada to obtain that first-party data to help better target our consumers.
I mean, broadcast historically struggled with real-time optimization, right?
Yes, 100%. And I think right now with the digitization, it's slowly evolving, but it needs to go faster. And I think that's what Havas is pushing to really come into the market with a bang of, TV still works, right, radio still works. But now we need to digitize it and give it more oomph and bring it back into the new age. It's got an image problem.
Right. Where would you see the slider between targeting and attribution in terms of relevance when you are planning your investments?
I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah?
Yeah, if we're targeting the right people, we should be getting great attribution back.
Fair enough.
Right?
Yes. And currently, how do you measure that with the first-party data? How would you go about that?
Well, Havas has got their own bespoke tools. We also tap in the way we build partnerships. It's not just about volume-based, it's about building connections, partnerships with our vendors. How can we make you hit your internal goals? How can you help us hit our goals? Right. And to combine, can we make what's best for the client?
So you openly and transparently share your data with your clients?
Well, I mean, obviously there's walled gardens and data, and there's NDAs and stuff we can't share, but we do work and partner with vendors that can provide and put it all together into one.
Now, Canada, of course, is not the United States. What are the biggest differentiators between the Canadian market and the U.S. market?
Canada is the little brother that gets the hand-me-downs from the United States, so it happens in the States first and then trickles down slowly coming to here, which I can't stand. I mean, we're a very progressive country. We're just as technically sound, and I would love for Canada to really update their offerings. What you see in the States is a lot of the times you can't get here.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's a smaller market as well. It's completely different from different geographies, different where our Canadian population is, and centers are much more like here's Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, versus you got all of these hubs in the United States, right? So
Plus there's the two languages as well,
and
right?
the two languages, which you got to treat as two different almost countries versus one, all of Canada. You've got Quebec market, and then you've got your rest of Canada.
I'm sure that there's differences in demographics as well, just because of the language. Right?
100%. And then also when you think about Quebec, you really want to connect with their culture because they're very big supporters of their own star system versus the rest of Canada. So when you're really wanting to make an impact and a connection in that market, you really want to get into what Quebec is and who Quebec is.
So when you then make your decisions and build out your strategies, how do you intersect that with your consideration of innovation and new technologies? What drives your selection of new technologies?
Innovation is at the core of where we're at right now. The status quo cannot be anymore. We can't be doing the same mundane thing that's been done. We need to evolve. We make sure when we're looking at and we're analyzing what's new, we make sure that one, is it contextually relevant? It goes with our meaningful media approach. Is it contextually relevant for the client? Is there a huge opportunity to make this massive in the market? Is there a first market opportunity on this? Has this been done before, and if so, how can we do it better?
Right.
Because you're doing the same thing over again, just changing the nameplate. People, with the amount of memes and social media out there, people are going to catch it. You need to continually evolve now. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Right. And in terms of the actual feedback loop with broadcast, the interactivity of it all, currently your channels for that are what, social?
Yeah.
Or is that it?
Yeah, really, there's not much connectivity. I mean, now there's QR codes on your connected TV that you can do that, but it's very still, you see it on TV, and if you've got a call to action, then you use your search on your phone, right? There's nothing really hand in hand together that, allows you to lean back and connect with either the brand or what you're seeing on TV.
I mean, it is ambient enjoyment, whether it's radio or TV. With radio particularly, you're always doing something else while you are listening to radio, and then a call to action is expected to interrupt that, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of stepping into the next question for this one, what is the first radio ad that you actually remember? What was the one that still is in your ear?
Oh, there's a couple. So it's important, especially for radio. I love radio. It's true to my heart. If you got great sonic branding, then it's a great campaign for radio. So there's McDonald's, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. You can hear it every single time. You don't even need to say the words anymore, just the jingle, and that sticks. But one for Canada specific, Sleep Country Canada.
Yes.
Yes, right? So it's gotten
Sleep
to a
Country Canada.
Why buy a mattress anywhere else? Now they don't even use the words. It's literally the sound.
Yeah.
And you can identify that as Sleep Country Canada. And I think as strong, for me, that to this day, that's one of the strongest jingles I know. If you've got a strong sound, Netflix as well, if they were using radio, all we'd have to do is ba-dum.
Yes.
You would know on radio right away because it's all about your sonic branding.
Yeah.
How does your brand sound? And I think so many brands need to, especially with the rise of audio, the revamp of radio, and I think if you to properly utilize that medium, you need to. How does your brand sound?
This is the last interview actually on this interview series across the US and Canada.
Save the best for last.
Absolutely. No, and what we found out, but when we asked about the most memorable ad, everybody said jingle, because you are prompted to engage and sing along and move the air. What's your take on that, and how do you see that evolving?
Yes.
Yes?
But I don't think just jingles. It doesn't just need to be some corny advertising jingle.
In terms of memorability.
Memorability, yes, 100%,
right?
yes.
Right?
Yeah, but I don't think it doesn't just need to be jingle, even for memorability. You gotta have just a sound. What do you sound like?
Right.
It doesn't need to be a jingle. Netflix, it's not a jingle. But it's a sound, and that really resonates with you, right? So sometimes people think, oh, you need to have a jingle, which is great, especially if you do it well. It's great, but it can be an epic fail too. It's really just making and giving your brand a sound and having the consistency of that sound across all of your mediums.
Well, as you know, we are an interactive voice, and we in fact are doing this interview series to kind of frame up how best to bring this new product to market. What is your view of interactive voice and actionable ads, and kind of attaching itself to what we just talked about, the memory and the brand awareness. What's
about time.
It's about time.
It's
Perfect.
about time.
Perfect answer.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Radio right now, especially in Canada, it gives you that reach and that local connection. Right. But it's been the same since 1902. How can we evolve that? And that is the next step right now with radio, is being able to connect with, either you can connect with the DJs, you can connect with your brands, you can you can make radio clickable now, which you can never do before.
Yeah, no, we actually heard that. Radio now has a click, and then also in terms of remaining in the lean back position and still yet perform the call to action.
Exactly, and the fact that, when you think about the evolution of cars and then becoming more smart speaker enabled, that lean back experience, say you're driving to a store and you're like, or you're driving away and you're like, I forgot to order a kid's gift. You can just order on your car while you're driving.
Right.
For the party next week, so right. The convenience is there.
And it's actually from a understanding the data perspective, understanding the assessment of the audience, and then from there and the targeting and then the attribution. Where do you see that improving for Havas with using interactive voice?
Interactive voice really goes with our meaningful media approach.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It really goes hand in hand. Yeah. Creating that connection with your brand one-on-one. It can either be in like an e-commerce space, or creating something that's as cool as just an experience of going through something with the brand, a story, a survey, a game, and I think it will allow people to really, when it comes top of mind, if you have that connection with your consumer, you're going to be the first one top of mind.
Oh, for sure. And in terms of where do you see the future of the commercial mechanics of interactive voice from your vantage point? How would you integrate that?
I think. Sorry, what's the question again?
The commercial mechanics. Where do you see the commercial mechanics of voice in the broadcast arena? Because it's so highly digital, yet it means to cover the rest of broadcast as well. Mm-hmm. Where do you see that evolving?
I think the vendors got to get involved in making space for it in their repertoires, especially how can you create with it? Does the creative just come as a call to action from a creative from client, or can you actually put, say, like the tool in and carve 5 seconds out of your overall schedule to be able to have those actionable adults and actionable audio, drives in there, and instead of just being creative being sent over, can they put it into their actual system?
Right. And then, of course, something that we're also trying to figure out here is the actual future of the role itself, and what would you recommend to an entrant in someone who wants to enter the fray of the agency world? What would you recommend for someone who's interested in becoming you one day?
Connections.
Connections.
You always need to make that partnership and that connection. It's the biggest thing. Media is an ever-evolving, ever problematic, fire-putting out, high-pressure type of business, and sometimes making those connections with who your reps are and who has the best tools out there, they can really help you. They can pull you out of some tough spots, and just creating, it's a very small industry.
Right.
So taking, you take care of, I scratch my back, you scratch yours, there's going to be times that both of you need that. And so really coming into the industry, connecting and making those personal relationships is definitely something you need to do.
Oh, thank you for that. We're actually going to be using these in a separate little video reel.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. So thank you very much for talking to us today.
No problem.
And I'm looking forward to the brownies and the carrot cakes that you brought today.
Thank you. Purple Sun Bakery, it's coming out. It's going to be huge.
Thank you. Yes, call out.